I get fully immersed in this game. It is super fun. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah. I'm glad you're enjoying that.
Yeah, I am enjoying it. You know what else I'm enjoying?
What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixelit, and happy 100th episode. Can you believe? This is our 100th episode, not counting bonus episodes. If you count bonus episodes, you're doing it wrong. This is the 100th mainline episode, and even if I counted wrong and it's not, whatever.
That's what we're doing, man.
This is the 100th episode forever, and that is all that really matters.
No takesies backsies.
No takesies backsies at all. So, for our 100th episode, I actually don't have a physical copy of this book. So, Phil, why don't you show the folks at home what we're reading? It is... Oh, that's beautiful. It is Resident Evil City of the Dead, the third in the Resident Evil book series, written by friend of the pod, S.T. Perry.
Friend of the pod, S.T. Perry.
Yeah.
It's based on Resident Evil 2, which still just goes down in history as one of my favorites of all time. I've been looking forward to this since we started this podcast.
This particular book has been...
I was like, all right, well, we're starting with Resident Evil. I want to get to the third one at least.
Yeah, damn straight.
I don't know if I had any idea that we were going to make it to 100 freaking episodes, but that's
we
crazy.
made it. We made it, baby.
We did. So cool.
Your copy of the book is weird looking.
Yeah. I want to show you guys this. This is amazing. I was showing Kevin earlier. This is the book. It's you may notice it is like really pristine. Like shiny, unbroken. And then you look at, and I don't know if the camera's picking up quite the way it should, but that is pure white paper. Like paperbacks don't usually come in this level of white, and certainly not a book that is as old as this one is. And then when you look inside, you can see based on kind of the form, this is a bootleg. This is a... You check the copyright and everything, and it says first edition. This is a bootleg. It is sharp and crisp and clean, and yet I bought it on eBay for $4.
That's amazing.
Thinking I was just getting another used one. So I have no idea what the end game is here.
The font on those chapter headings, they look like the Diablo font.
Oh, it totally does. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that's Diablo.
Totally looks like the Diablo font.
That's the Diablo font right there.
That's my Weird Punk Books bookmark.
Yeah. Well,
read Weird Punk books. They're awesome.
Yeah, read weird books. You know, that's...
Yeah, man.
Do it. Read weird books, too.
We demand that you
do
that. Now that we're 100 episodes in, we can start making demands of you.
So, Resident Evil 2, the book is based on the game Resident Evil 2. It is also one of my favorite games of all time. Resident Evil 2 is probably one of the most popular, famous games of all time, both the original and the remake. And it's pretty fairly deserved. The game plays very similarly to the first Resident Evil game, with the addition of a pathing mechanic. So there were two different paths in the game. There's the A path and the B path that you could sort of it's almost like the Legend of Zelda Second Quest type of thing. Except the two paths, if you started the game with Leon and you did Leon A and then you did Claire B, you'd have a very different experience as you went through the RPD. So I think that was one of the really neat things that they did in the game. The director of the game was Hideki Kamiya, who also developed Devil May Cry, Beautiful Joe, and Bayonetta. Fun fact, before I left Twitter, I was blocked by Hideki Kamiya. So,
very nice, very nice.
He's kind of
how did that go down?
I asked him about paying people fairly, and he blocked me.
I mean, yeah, that was kind of on you.
That's on me.
Yeah,
that's on me, bud. I deserved it.
Rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake. The producer was Shinji Mikami, who directed the first game, and then would go on to direct the 4th game in the series, which, as if you've been listening, we've been talking about the remake of the 4th game ad nauseum. Speaking of Shinji Mikami, he also then would go on. Later, he would make games like The Evil Within, and the studio that I believe he founded. They made The Evil Within, and this year they dropped probably one of the Game of the Year contenders in Hi-Fi. Yeah. It was wild. Shinji Mikami's studio, drops Hi-Fi Rush, and then Shinji Mikami basically, I think he might be semi-retired. He left the studio.
He at least left the studio.
Yeah.
Like he at least left whether he left the industry or not remains to be seen. But he at least left the studio after dropping a bomb on everybody. That game's ridiculous. It's such a good game.
So the game was released in January of 1998 for the PlayStation. After some time in development hell, there's like an unreleased version of the game that the developers call Resident Evil 1.5, which has its own huge, interesting story and backstory. Not going to get into it, but it was like
that's for later.
That's for later. That's for other people to talk about. It was like 75% done when they scrapped it. And then they took a lot of the assets that they were using for it to build the game that we ultimately saw. So yeah, that's Resident Evil 2. And normally at this time, Phil would tell me about the author, S.D. Perry. But this is the 4th book that we've read of S.D. Perry's.
Yeah. So, how do you introduce someone you've already introduced 3 times?
3 times. Is it the 4th book or the 5th? No, 4th.
This is the 4th. It's the 3rd Resident Evil book, and earlier this year we read
Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
And then we had the lovely Kat from Pixel a Day narrate. Q&A
narrated her voice in the Q&A. Yeah.
I feel confident in unironically ascribing the term friend of the pod
to
S.D. Perry.
Yes,
absolutely,
yes, exactly. And it was funny as I was reading this book. I remember one of her answers about how if she could go back and rewrite the book, she would talk about how. Like the little mistakes she made were like referring to things as clips instead of magazines.
Yeah. I wonder if copter is one of those things.
I wonder if copter is one of those things. Who knows? We should have asked her about copter.
Call back to the very first.
That is a call back to the first episode of the show where we were like, "Who uses copter?
Who does that? It's Chopper.
It's Chopper." But. Yeah, so if you want to learn more about S.D. Perry, go and listen to our Q&A that we had with her, or indirect Q&A that we had with her.
Yeah, 3 degrees of separation Q&A. Yeah,
so go back and listen to that episode if you want to learn more about S.D. Perry, or the first episode of any of the other series where we're reading an S.D. Perry book, because we would talk about her in there. So yeah, that's all the prologue. What do you say we put the body in the marsh?
Oh, let's put the body in the marsh.
Let's put the body in the marsh.
When I tell you to dump a body in the marsh, you dump them in the marsh.
All right. So the book itself starts with a prologue. And it's just, we get a lot of info dumping. Some newspapers are kind of detailing what happened between Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2. The stars have been disbanded. 10 new police officers are being hired for the police department. The Umbrella facility is undergoing major renovations. Brian Irons is considering a run for mayor. And there was a teenager attacked, probably by zombies.
Probably.
And those are
cannibals.
Cannibals. The cannibal murders. Yeah. They're still being called the cannibal murders in the public eye, as opposed to zombie attacks. The zombie thing was pretty much thoroughly covered up.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you can't count on Umbrella to do just a spectacular cover up, are we even following the same franchise?
Are we even following the same franchise? If that's,
I don't think we are.
No. Okay. So chapter 1, here we go. We're in it. And is it going to be Leon? Is it going to be Claire? No, it's Jill. It's Jill is our first point of view character. It's September 26, 1998, which is sometime before the events of the game. In the chapter, Jill is packing up her remaining stuff to get out of town. Chris and Barry are waiting for her outside in the truck. She is having trouble finding underwear. She is. Yeah. She needs fresh underwear. She needs
a bra. She
needs some bras. She needs underwire. At one point,
Vanity, thy name is underwire. It's a great line.
It is a great line.
I just didn't expect in the prologue to already be thinking about, or in the not prologue, but in the first chapter, already be thinking about one of our characters' panties. That's
I mean, but it's SD Perry. I mean,
there's some horny shit in there.
If one thing that we've learned from Ms. Perry is it's going to get there's going to be some horny shit in there. There's going to be
going to get a little horny,
little sexy stuff in there.
Sexy. Just a little sexy.
Treat. Just
a little treat. You can have a little underwire in your zombie book as a treat.
It's a treat. So the stars that are left are planning on getting to Austria to research the Umbrella headquarters, but also dig around and find the other places that the T-virus might have been developed. Chris comes in to get her. Oh yeah, before Chris comes in to get her, there's a moment where she has, she's thinking about her dad again, where she's like, she basically, I love this because she basically picks up a book that is like, I think an erotica set in a prison or something like that.
Yeah. That's right. It's like the old exploitation, like prison babes gone wild.
And then like a picture of her dad falls out that she was using as a bookmark, which not touching that, but
there's a lot to unpack there.
So she just talks about how her dad and like she wouldn't necessarily be in this position if she had still been a thief and all that stuff. So a little bit more of the Jill used to be a cat burglar backstory established, and then Chris comes in and he's like, "Come on, we gotta go punch some boulders."
Right.
And there's like something going on between them. There's some hot tension between them, and she's like, and because Jill's like, it seems like Chris wants to be more than friends with me, and then she's like, oh, shut up, Jill, you would want that too, like,
right, yeah.
She's like, admit it to yourself.
It looks like he wants to touch my butt. Oh, I don't know what to do about that, except let him.
Except touch his butt.
Touch his butt. Let's touch butts together. Resident Evil 3. Let's touch butts together. Where's that DLC?
It would be very much a Tina Belcher fan fiction written. It already has the zombies, butts and zombies. I think that's pretty much Tina Belcher's go-to move.
Yeah, if that hasn't been written, if Tina Belcher was a real person, that is, and that hadn't been written. I love that I'm just going on the assumption that Tina Belcher's a real human being. It's like, well, I mean, Tina, why haven't you written this fanfic? I'm just a little disappointed, is all.
Just a little disappointed in you.
Just a little.
Chapter 2. Now we got Leon. We got Leon, the king of the one-liners.
Leon.
Oh, here we go. There's the Munchkin.
Hey, Munchkin.
Hello. All right.
That was awesome.
So we got Leon.
I know how she feels.
He's driving it in town.
Yep.
He's been freshly hired as a police officer, and he's got some interesting backstory here that isn't established in the game at all.
Nope.
That she adds. He used to live in Raccoon City during like the summer with his grandmother or something like that.
Yeah. It was like summer vacation time, hanging out with his grandparents.
Yeah. And Leon is Leon is from New York City. Originally, they establish that SD Perry establishes in the book. So I was trying to figure out where Raccoon City is in the SD Perryverse based on what was your mental map, because I think I figured it out.
Oh, okay, yeah, you get little hints. I feel like it's New England. That was definitely part of it for me.
It's not technically New England is what I figured out. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So, once we get all the information, then I'll do the breakdown of the calculating that I did.
Peel back the layers.
Back the layers. You know,
I love it.
You all are just on the edge of your seat.
I can feel your mental hunger.
Because I was like, New York over the mountains, and at first I was like, is Raccoon City like a stand-in for Pittsburgh or something like that? Because of the Romero stuff and the zombies, and like I was like, okay, maybe it's like a Pittsburgh-y type place. But I was wrong. That was just my.
They
first
talk about
guess.
the coast or something there, don't they? I thought they did.
Maybe, but it might be a different coast than you're thinking of.
Okay.
So. We also established that the Raccoon City Police Department was originally a library. I believe in the remake of 2, they established that it used to be an art gallery. If I recall, there's just like a pamphlet or something like that. And then the chapter ends with Leon nearly hitting a dog, or what he thinks is a dog. And he shakes himself off and he continues on his way. The chapter doesn't end. It just scene change. Sorry.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. Now we got Claire's point of view. Claire's riding into Raccoon City on her Harley, and she is, I think this is a nice, addition. SD Perry does a lot of good work explaining kind of the weird, dumb shit that happens in Resident Evil games with the most likely explanation. There's another really good moment later, but this first one is Claire is riding into town on her Harley, and people who ride motorcycles are like, well, Claire isn't wearing anything. She's wearing cutoff short jeans and a vest. If she was a responsible rider, would probably be wearing her leather. Because that protects you from
completely eating shit.
The road rash, basically, when you fall off or eat shit or whatever. So she's like, we have a moment with Claire's internal monologue. I mean, she let her friend borrow her riding suit, but then she got this bug up her butt to go see Chris because nobody was answering any phone calls. So she's like, fuck it, I just got to go. So she hops on her motorcycle and, starts driving into Raccoon City. Just
throws caution to the wind.
Throwing caution to the wind. And she's talking, thinking about how Chris is going to chew her out for not wearing the proper attire and all that stuff. We get some backstory of that. Chris and Claire's parents are dead. His dad died young. His mom died a couple of years ago. And Chris has been kind of like a de facto parent to Claire as they grew up. We get our favorite name. Our favorite name gets a shout out here. Billy Rabbitson. She even called Billy Rabbitson to try to find out where Chris was.
Billy Rabbitson.
Billy Rabbitson. I regret not asking her about that. Billy Rabbitson.
That's a person, right? That's someone you know.
Right.
You didn't make that up.
Because it could also be that scene at the end of The Usual Suspects where she was staring at like at first like a goat and then like a rabbit hopped by and then she looked up at the sun and she said, Billy Rabbits.
Rabbits. Billy Rabbitson is Kaiser Sose.
So chapter 3. All right, Leon. Leon gets into the city, but everything is super duper quiet. The area that he is in should be loud and partying at this time of night, but it's dead ski. He sees a couple of drunks, air quotes, stumbling around.
Drunks, yep.
And then he has to slam on the brakes when he sees a bunch of carrion birds in the road. He stops, they fly away, and he finds a dead body. Yeah. He brings his gun with him, which is 1,000% not standard issue.
It is a hand cannon is what he brings.
He brings his Desert Eagle .50, the gun that Bullet Tooth Tony uses in Snatch.
The thing is a fire-breathing dragon. What the fuck? It's like this is whoever's playing this version of Resident Evil 2, it's their like third or fourth walkthrough, and they get to start with like a badass.
They've unlocked the Magnum unlimited ammo. That's
exactly.
That's this version. The book is based on that version.
That's it. That's what this is based on.
Yeah. So he brings his Desert Eagle .50. And right about here we get off onto the magazine versus clip thing that she actually commented on in her answers to us. So those of you who don't know, the metal thing that you see people put into the bottom of handguns, that's a magazine. Mm-hmm. Clips are used on almost nothing in modern firearms. There's the best example of possibly a clip. A clip is literally just a strip of metal that holds a line of bullets together. No. The only Resident Evil gun recently that I think of that uses a clip is actually the Red 9 from Resident Evil 4. Because it's like the top loader thing. You take out, you have the clip of bullets. The bullets are exposed, and you like slide them in, and then the piece of metal is like thrown away.
Yeah, zips out. Yeah.
So that's the difference between a magazine and a clip. Somebody with more firearms knowledge can correct me, but I believe I explained that as well as reasonably possible. It's if you're thinking what it is, it's almost never a clip. It's a magazine.
Yeah, although clip is the way more common term people use generically.
It is. People generically will use clip, but that's not what it is.
Ultimately, though, it's basically ATM machine.
ATM machine.
It's ATM machine. It's just you're wrong, yes, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I gotta check something because when I was growing up, so when I was growing up, where I grew up in the town I grew up in, they were never called ATM machines; they were Mac machines. Have you ever heard that term?
Oh yeah, I heard that in Pennsylvania. Yeah,
in
Mac
Pennsylvania, a lot of people call them Mac machines. A Mac stands for Money Access Center. And that's actually not like Mac machine is not redundant, but ATM machine 100% redundant.
Totally is. That's so. I literally do not think I've thought about Mac machines since I left Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
it has been a very long time.
It's a weird. It was on both sides of Pennsylvania. Mac machine.
That is funny. That is so weird.
I was like, why do if you search Mac machine, the number one question is a Quora question of why do people in Philadelphia call the ATM a Mac machine? So,
I like it.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna call them Mac machines.
Yeah,
because why not?
See how far you can get.
See how far I can get the spread.
Florida with that one.
You know, we've already lost the state to fascism. What else do I lose by just
how much worse could it possibly get?
How much worse could it possibly get? So we're still in chapter 3. Leon looks at the body for a second. He's like, oh, maybe I can like resuscitate her. Oh no, like she's missing her stomach.
Yeah. Oh, that's
God.
just one half of her torso. Sick. Okay.
Whoops. Yes. Then the zombies attack, and Leon starts firing and backing away toward his Jeep. Chapter 4 now, Claire. Claire is having a similar reaction to Leon. She's like, what's going on? This place is totally empty. So she decides to stop at a diner that Chris frequents quite often to see what is going on. And when she enters the diner, she sees that one of the waitresses is on the ground and her head is missing. And sitting behind the waitress is the chef who is eating her head. So
sure.
That's not a great way to pass your health inspection.
No, I don't recommend it. Kudos for being adventurous and trying new things.
Sure.
But I don't think that's something most of us are going to get away with.
I don't think the health inspectors like it. She tries to run away. She tries to run away, and when she gets back to the front door, there's now several zombies approaching it. So she runs around to the back door that exits out into the alleyway. If this sounds familiar, it's because it's beat for beat exactly from the opening cutscene of Resident Evil 2. When she opens the door, she sees a man pointing a gun at her. It's Leon. She ducks. He shoots the zombie that's chasing her, and they start running together. And that's when the plan is established. We got to get to the police station. So we're in chapter 5 now, and Leon and Claire, they find a car to get away. It's a cop car, and the one question I wrote in my notes here is, do cop cars actually have bulletproof glass? I don't think that's a real thing.
No, I think like certain SWAT vehicles, sure, but generally speaking, I don't think they're
feel like
bulletproof glass.
The president's limo has bulletproof glass.
Sure. Yeah. The Pope Mobile. Absolutely. But your local traffic cop, probably not. Probably.
Yeah. Not. And so generally, no. Okay. So they don't, because that would be a lot of money. That'd be insane, right? That would be insane. No town would spend that much on police, right?
No, that would be silly. That would be ridiculous.
Silly.
They'll be giving them military grade rifles and body armor after that. That's just crazy.
You know, ATVs and or what was it? Was the line from Die Hard? The cops have a Humvee. When they blew it up with a rocket launcher. So Leon and Claire get to know each other a little bit more as they drive. Claire finds a gun in the glove box. And then Leon, and this is the information I needed, all happened in this chapter. Leon muses they can make it to Latham on their current tank of gas. All right. Latham is a northern part of Albany, New York. Mm-hmm. Did some back of the napkin math on it. So first of all, what kind of car is this cop car? Probably it's 1998. I'm going to assume it's a Crown Vic.
I was just going to say Crown Vic.
Let's assume it's a Crown Vic. What was the mileage on a Crown Vic? About 22 miles per gallon. Looked it up. It was a 1998 Crown Vic, 22 miles per gallon. The tank on a Crown Vic was 12.7 gallons. They had a 3/4 tank, which let them travel. They probably had a range of about 200 miles. Where does that place them if they are within 200 miles of Albany, New York? That is way upstate New York on the border near Canada. Probably in where Potsdam is in upstate New York.
I hate you so much, Kevin.
I had to stop and map it out. It was
You
bugging
just
me.
you just Sherlocked your way into knowing S.D. Perry's canonical Raccoon City, and I can't argue with you. I mean, you are almost certainly correct.
Because in the games and in especially in the remake version, it's strongly hinted that Raccoon City's in the Midwest, not anywhere on the East Coast. So I think this is the S.D. Perry version of Raccoons. It's like a lot like DC Comics, where you don't really know where Gotham is,
but it's New York.
Yes, it's actually. I believe some people figured out it's actually supposed to be like it's like across the river from New York. It's like it's North Jersey or something like that. It's weird,
right?
But yeah, it's got that DC energy of like, you don't really know.
Yeah, the ambiguous. It's Springfield from The Simpsons.
It's Springfield from The Simpsons. Yeah,
yeah. It's one of those. That's in there.
Anyway, while they're figuring out, map quests in 1998, there's something in the backseat and it attacks them, and they fight it off and crash. Now we're on Claire's point of view. She sees the truck that's about to slam into them. It's a tanker truck. They get out of the car. It crashes. Poof, big wall of flame. They can't get back to each other. Mm-hmm. And Leon calls out to Claire to tell her to meet him at the police station, and Claire ducks, dives, dodges her way through the streets. And that's the beginning, pretty much, that's the split point in the game. The A quest, B quest kind of split point. Chapter 6. Ada Wong. Ada Wong. Fan favorite Ada Wong.
Oh, yeah.
Ada has practically solved all the puzzles in the police station. She's like annoyed about the puzzles in the police station.
Yeah. She is over it. She is over the random ass keys and puzzles before we've even gotten a look at them.
Right. She's been doing it for days, and she is not happy about it. We get she was hired by Trent to steal some stuff and deal with a reporter, which is that was her job in Resident Evil 2 to begin with. And her backstory of like trying to find her umbrella scientist boyfriend. She's like, yeah, I dated one briefly 10 months ago, so it would like kind of track. Whatever, we can use that. Yep. It also gives backstory as to why Ada is wearing a slinky red dress instead of something tactical, which is the second time that S.D. Perry fixes something from the game.
Yeah,
it's like Ada was at dinner when shit hit the fan and didn't have time to change.
It's like, yeah, S.D. Perry was like Marvel, DC retconning, explaining shit before that was even a thing to worry about. It's very graceful. You got to give it to her. It's a strong work.
Yeah, strong work. Very smooth. I loved it.
Yeah.
But Ada is also starting to feel the effects of seeing so many civilians die hopelessly. She's a little in her feelings at this point. So we
I did not expect off the bat to be getting the pathos of Ada Wong,
because we never really ever get that from her in the game, aside from what she feels towards like the shit Leon has to go through.
Right.
That's pretty much it. And I can't comment on Resident Evil 6. I know she was a big part of Resident Evil 6, but at least in 2 and 4, she feels bad. Leon gets put into tough spots, but that's about it.
Right.
That's kind of like the extent of it.
Well, because he's the big-eyed, like, babe in the woods, naive waif kind of character.
Yeah.
And she is the opposite of that. So how could she not feel a little bad for him?
She's killed so many people.
So many people. So many people.
We get to chapter 7. Leon is in the Kendo gun shop, searching for ammo. There isn't a ton in the way of Magnum rounds until he finds basically a duffel bag full of them. So kind of shortcutting the survival horror aspect of like needing to save and scrounge for ammo. He finds 5 boxes with 5 clips each. And it was like
she just said, you know what? Let's not worry about that. We're not going
to worry about that. How many does he have? He has 25 times, was it 10 rounds in a Desert Eagle? I don't know.
Yeah.
He has 250 Magnum rounds. Go to town.
He has this many. You know, just
he has the
handful.
Plot. He has the plot amount that.
Exactly. How many do you need him to have? He's got that. That's how much right there. That's how much.
He has it. One of the things I forgot is how much better the Resident Evil 2 remake is with the Kendo gun shop stuff.
Yeah.
There's really nothing there in the original.
No, but they turned it into a whole thing.
In the remake, they turned it into the most heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most heartbreaking scenes ever in a Resident Evil game.
It's really, They did a wonderful job with it. And they didn't have to. Like you said, there was no need. It was all set. We'd never established anyone there, period.
Right.
Yeah, they did a great job with that.
Yeah. So he finds that duffel bag and he escapes out into the alley. Now we're in Claire's point of view. Claire is running around outside of the police station. She has more backstory during this action sequence about her time with Chris and how she would meet Chris for lunch in the patio out back in the police station. And during this time, she is going up the stairs and sees a helicopter. This is another famous cutscene. There's a helicopter being flagged down by a cop on the roof, and the cop has a machine gun, and he accidentally catches the attention of some zombies. The zombies start eating him. He pulls the trigger on the machine gun, and the machine gun fires up into the air, into the helicopter, causing the helicopter, or the copter, to crash into the roof of the Raccoon Police Department.
Way to go, guys.
Way to go, guys. Well,
way to go.
Handled.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Fantastic. Chapter 8, Brian Irons makes his appearance. He hears the helicopter crash, but he is more focused on the fact that he's disassociating.
Yeah.
Dude's not in a great place right now.
He's not doing so good. Yeah,
I don't doing so good.
He's not doing terrific.
I don't think he was
a lot of people
good.
In this game are. Yeah, but yeah.
Everybody's doing bad, but he seems to be doing the worst.
He's doing worse. Yes.
Of those who are alive, not great. He's carrying the mayor's daughter, Beverly, to his office, and the way it's written, it's as if Beverly is just passed out. Spoiler alert, she's very, very dead.
Super dead.
She's like, she's had her stomach eaten or something like that. He's pretending she's alive, but she's not. There's a lot of creepy subtext about how he feels about her, about how he knew her as a little girl and she had perfect skin. And it's like,
it is very upsetting.
Very upsetting. Oh, I went back and watched the cutscene where Claire, and we're going to actually get to that exact scene in a couple chapters. I went back and watched it in the game, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, a lot of this is taken straight from the game, the original game, and how he kind of like acts. I forget how the remake handles it.
I honestly don't remember.
I don't think, you know what? I don't think you see her until later. I don't think you ever see her in the police station.
No, Beverly. I don't think so. I definitely think it's later because I have very little memory of her.
Yeah, you see in the cutscene in the original game, she's laying out on his desk, dead, when you first meet Brian Irons. So a lot of unfortunate subtext there.
A lot of going on.
Chapter 9, Leon is still making his way through town, and he gets to the Raccoon City Police Department, There's not much going on once he gets in the lobby. Lobby's it's nice and quiet. He goes to the room where the beat cops would work out of, and he meets Marvin Branagh, a critically wounded police officer. Another character that was really expanded upon in the remake.
They did a great job with him, too. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. Marvin tells Leon to go find the other survivors after giving him the lowdown on what happened with Stars and the Spencer Mansion incident. Like, Marvin seems like one of the cops that believed like what the Stars were saying was true.
Yeah.
He was buying into what Chris and all them were saying. Especially now that he is dying on the ground.
Well, at this point, what choice has he got?
What choice
I better
has he got?
believe in this shit. Yeah.
And Marvin points a gun at Leon to tell him to go leave and go on get.
Yeah. I don't want you here anymore anyway. I never loved you. Get. Leon just wipes a tear away and stumbles off.
Yeah. Claire, we're in chapter 10 now. Claire, she finds a fire extinguisher, and after trying to figure out how to use a fire extinguisher, she puts out the blaze that the crashed helicopter started. And the pilot is very dead. And this is one of my
super dead.
One of my favorite lines is the features had been obliterated, running together like dark tallow. Yeah.
Man, she can write some gore. It's so terrific.
She can write some gore.
Oh, man. It's great. It's just great.
Claire
Welcome back, Miss Perry.
Welcome back, Miss Perry. We're loving your work.
Yes.
Claire continues down the hallway and enters a room that she calls a parody of a men's club from the 50s. And it's Brian Irons' office. Then Claire sees the dead body on the desk, and then Brian turns around in the chair and points a gun at her. So this is the second time she's had a gun pointed at her. Brian is completely disassociating and talking about how his favorite hobby used to be taxidermy, and Claire is very skeeved out.
Yeah. I think in the best of times, somebody telling you that they were super into taxidermy, in this situation, might creep someone out. Yeah,
it might creep someone out. It's not. And remember, if you remember his office from the game, filled with taxidermied stuff.
Yeah.
There's like
thing.
There's like a lion or a tiger or something out in the hallway. Not great.
Not great. It's not. Yeah. The whole situation doesn't make one feel safe. Let's say.
Right. And listen, if you were listening to this and you like taxidermying things, more power to you.
Absolutely.
I don't necessarily need to hear about it. You can keep that hobby to yourself. That's.
I've had friends who are super into taxidermy and stuff like that, and that it's genuinely fascinating stuff.
It's fascinating. Creeps me out though. I don't.
Yeah.
Not fan of just like, oh, but now it's alive. It looks alive again. I'm like, yeah, but it's.
It's super not though. That's the thing.
It's super not. I guess it's fine for like museums and shit, but
sure,
there's just a taxidermied squirrel on your bookshelf.
Yeah. Now, unless you're one of those people who takes like the taxidermied squirrel and gives him a little pipe and top hat and stuff like that, then you're okay in my book. That's how you turn it around. Make it whimsical.
Squirrel Lock Holmes.
Yeah. Love it.
Oh gosh. We're in chapter 11 with point of view characters now. Sherry Birkin. Sherry's been hiding in the police station for a very long time, and is probably one of the only people left alive from the group of folks that went there for safety. She's been hiding from what she thinks is a monster, and there is one that has been looking for her in particular. So she ducks, and then Claire is the one that is what the footsteps are. Claire wants to take Sherry with her, but then Sherry hears the screams of the monster that is hunting her from somewhere else in the building and ducks back into the ventilation shafts. And that's
She
where
newts right off.
she newts right off. She is very much a newt in
Big time.
she's probably a reference to Newt. I gotta say.
Kind of has to be, right?
Has to be, right?
At this point, you can't be protecting a young girl in a horror, anything really, and not draw a direct parallel to Newt. There's just no way.
Yeah. So the monster that is looking for her is, I can't remember, but it's William Birkin, right? That's the
Yes.
Yeah, it's her dad.
Also not doing so good.
Also not doing so good. He's got to keep an eye out for that shoulder.
Oh, well, guys, it's been 100 episodes. Thank you guys so much for listening. We're gonna move on to other projects.
If it was better, it would have been better if I said he's got to keep an eye on his shoulder. Yeah, but that's I fucked up. I fucked it up.
It's okay, man. We're none of us perfect.
I'm sorry.
Po body's nerfect.
Po buddy's nerfect. So that's the first third of the book, so to speak. So how you feeling so far, Phil?
It's great. This is great. This is what I wanted. I we both talked about how special Resident Evil 2 is to both of us, and SD Perry does a terrific job with it. As always, she is just probably the most consistent writer we've ever run into on this show, and says a lot about why we keep coming back to her.
Sure, it's always an enjoyable read. I think that's the thing. It's not like a slog to get through. This book reads so fast. I was like, oh, I could probably finish the whole thing sitting, in an afternoon if I really wanted to.
But it's not dense. But it does have these wonderfully written moments, like you said, like the dead helicopter pilot. Like they're just little surprising moments of horrifying poetry. What can I say?
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed, I was looking at some cutscenes from Resident Evil 2. She did move some things around. At this point in the story, Mr. X would have been dropped into the police station already. And
we would have seen him already.
We would have seen him already. Because he appears as soon as Claire puts the fire out on the helicopter. That's his appearance in the game. So I think she's probably just shuffling the deck a little bit, which is fine, which is what you should do in an adaptation. Sort of like what she did with Ada Wong, being the character who has pretty much already gone in and prima guided the puzzles already.
Right. Go straight ahead. Yeah, fine. Yeah. Because as we discussed when we first started reading these books, there's not much to be gained from going through every individual puzzle like that, because it's totally different. It's not the same. Because if you do that, you're dealing with the same thing we dealt with Gabriel Knight most recently.
Sure.
Where you're getting ahead of yourself. Why am I picking this thing up? It's it doesn't fit in the same way.
Yeah. There's been no puzzles in all drama basically in this so far.
Yeah.
And you could tell, I think you could kind of tell her point of view on it in the first one. And it seems like that she definitely had some expanded thoughts on it between the first and the third book, because in the first one, there were some puzzles that she kind of like wrote out and described what it was. And then at one point, there's a moment where you have to solve this puzzle to lower the glass. And I think I remember from the first book, like Jill just breaks the glass and takes the thing. Instead of solving the puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, and you know what? That's fine. There are some things that we just don't need. Yeah. We don't need the whole damn process.
It's like the characters,
we just don't need it.
The characters are like, wait a minute, I'm in another medium.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But what we do want when we're reading a book like this is to get introspection from people like Ada Wong, for example, who we do not generally get that point of view of.
Right.
We want those little tidbits because it is a naturally more introspective, thoughtful medium. So or just give us more action or something like that. But
Sure.
There are very few people who can pull off, a puzzle in your book that the reader can read along with and enjoy. Dan Brown comes to mind, and even those can be pretty lame.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Dan Brown, I think Dan Brown is fine. I understand why Angels and Demons and what's the other one? Da Vinci Code, the more famous one, right, is the one I forgot.
Yeah, I mean,
I understand why they're popular. I
get it.
They have a unique. It's not really a unique take on history. It's like an interesting take on. It's because it's a very common conspiracy theory about what the church is covering up and all that stuff about the lineage of Jesus Christ and all that.
Right, but it's packaged in a way that, your average, middle-class conservative family who isn't privy to all of those conspiracy theories can go, oh, spooky, different. And I get it. It's written... I remember reading the Da Vinci Code when I was really young, right around the time it had first come out, and enjoying it. But even at that young an age, I was like, hey, these chapters are 1.5 pages long each, and they always end on a cliffhanger. This son of a bitch is manipulating me. It's pretty blatant what he's doing.
Yeah, the book was it my freshman year of college. The book came out. So yeah, it's he writes his books are so quickly paced. That's what makes those work.
They snap.
And that's how he gets away with writing books about puzzles.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah.
So yeah, that's the first third of this book. Loving it so far. So today's our 100th episode.
Sure is.
And Phil, instead of going through what are you playing, I want to do a little exercise and talk about what are our favorite memories of the past 100 episodes. So
such a good idea.
And I polled some fans of ours on our Discord, and if you want to check out our Discord, you can. I think it might be still linked on Twitter, and you can go to our website.
It's still pinned to the top.
Still pinned to the top of Twitter.
Twitter feed. Yep.
And you can also go to our website pixelitpod.com, and there's a link to the Discord right up there, right up at the top. So Phil, I'll start with you. What's your takeaway? What's your favorite thing to take away from these first 100 episodes?
I think one of my favorite things that we have done on this show was how many of the authors we've been able to talk to.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the insights that we've been getting from them, not to mention how eager so many of them were to chat about this very niche subject.
Sure.
One that most of them, this is not the only way they make their bread and butter,
Yeah.
Especially someone like Seth Godin, for example.
Yeah.
Who is a legend in the Nintendo world, but also a legendary marketer. I don't think I fully appreciated what a big deal he was in the world of marketing.
He's a huge deal. The fact that we got time on Seth Godin's calendar.
Yeah.
At the time, I don't think I necessarily appreciated the fact that we got time on Seth Godin's calendar to talk about the Worlds of Power books that he did.
Yeah.
Because he thought it might be a good niche to fill because people like playing video games.
Right. Looking back on it, it's absolutely mind-blowing. These authors have all been so generous with their time and have all been... and I just love their moments with these different authors where the microphone turns off and we're still talking. We're still going. I remember when we were talking... Oh, who was it? It was... not Dietz. Oh, God.
Was it Alan Dean Foster?
Alan Dean Foster, thank you. I'm
sure.
Completely blanking here. But we got done with our conversation with him, and we went, okay, great, thanks. And recording's off. And he just pauses for a minute and goes, okay. what do you really want to know? And we just sat and chatted with him for another half an hour. It was just like off the record shit.
Yeah.
And it was great. And it was just a wonderful experience, let alone valuable for what we talk about on this show. And the fact of the matter is that we have gotten it through no clout. We don't have clout. We got it through just asking, by being sincere. And, you know, none of these people we approached did we come at them with this attitude of like trying to pretend that we were a bigger deal than we were.
No, just humbly asking.
Yeah, just like this is what we do. It's really niche and everything, but we think you would be really cool to get. And the sheer percentage of people who have said yes, as opposed to no. People have not said no. They just haven't gotten back to us.
Yeah, like there was one no.
Oh yeah, there was one.
But
no.
I'm not gonna say who it was, only because I still kind of have hopes that maybe someday, we can make it through the filtering process of their management team to actually get the request in.
Yes, but that's the thing. It was never the author.
It was never the author. No.
Yeah, generally speaking, when we can get through to the author. They have been very generous with their time and very cool, and it's so gratifying. It feels good that this fun. I keep making the joke, but it's not. I've made the joke over the past like 2 years that it was. Kevin and I are at the age where we were either going to make this podcast or we were going to start like a 90s garage band or something like that, because you just get to that point. And,
you just got to have something to fill the hours, you know?
It's our fun little trip. We have fun with this. We love doing this. And that translates with not just our guests, but with you guys who are listening. So many of you. Today, Kevin did pop into the Discord. I am notorious for not being as active on the Discord as I could be. I get panicky. I'm trying. I'm trying. I don't want to like seem like I can't be bothered. It's far from that. I get overwhelmed when I see like the backlog of people saying things. I go,
oh my God, people have been saying things.
People are saying things. And Kevin popped in there and said, "Hey guys, what are your favorite moments?" Told them what we were doing here. And the number of people who popped in there with things that half the time I'd completely forgotten about.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've done so many episodes now that it's a joy to be reminded of these moments.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'll get into these. But yeah, I mean, just to echo your thoughts, I agree. It's been wonderful. Talking to those authors has been wonderful. I think above all, my favorite thing is being able to do it with you, to find something to do with my best friend that we could do on a repeated basis. And it's been the longest I've ever dedicated to a single project at this point. So
same. And it's never been a chore.
It's never been a chore.
It's never been. No, it's always been so natural. Yeah. It's always been so natural with that stuff. And I completely agree. This wouldn't have been the same with anybody else, Kevin. I love you to death. Oh, yeah. And this is fantastic.
I love Stephen Philip Keeling, and I don't care who knows it.
Now you're good. Everyone's like, wait, his name's Steven? What the fuck? It's high school all over again.
All right, so Phil, now we're going to get into from the Discord. Some folks were kind enough to provide us. I'm thinking I might edit some of these moments into the episode as they come up.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So favorite moments from the first 100 episodes from the Discord. Pim. They are a wonderful supporter of ours. They also have
I love you, Pim.
And also an amazing YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Oh, speak. Hello.
We got another munchkin.
There she is.
Hey, kid.
And there she goes.
Our biggest fan.
Our biggest fan. So from Pim, there are top moments where, and we just had the person who graced us with that, my daughter, was sacrifice human babies.
Yeah. Yep.
And the walnut eater discussion.
For how funny that moment was, when Pim said it, I was like, shit, they totally reminded me of this thing that I'd forgotten about. It was like, holy fuck, that was... Oh my God.
I forget how it started. I was like, it was something about, I said something like to you, like, you look like a walnut eater.
Yeah, because I was talking about allergies or something, and as an example, I said maybe I'm allergic to walnuts.
Oh, and I said, I was like,
you look like a walnut eater.
Are you allergic to walnuts? And you're like, no, it's just an example. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, because you look like a walnut eater. And then
you look like a walnut eater. What the fuck does that mean?
And then, it became walnut eater is derogatory towards Welsh people. I think we decided.
I think so. Yeah. See, that's another one of those things that we make merch. We have to have stickers that say walnut eater on them or something. Yeah. I mean, my God.
From Alex, also known as Soccer Tetris, he said his favorite moment is Yayop Lives.
Oh, yeah.
Which Yayop was a character that I've never been tempted to actually write fan fiction, but I would for Yayop. I mean... Yeah. Who doesn't love Yayap?
I think that's kind of my pie in the sky dream now. They say that if people don't tell you that it can't be done, then you're dreaming too small. And so I've adjusted my dreams to include writing a Halo novel that the main character is Yayap. Like
I would love that. And officially, that your dream is to write an officially licensed by Microsoft and 343 Industries Halo novel about
sign off
this single grunt.
Yeah. Yep. Well, he's going to survive unless they say, look, unless they're like, no, he's dead canonically, but you can do a prequel.
Yeah,
I can do like a Han Solo trilogy style, like scoundrelly prequel trilogy of Yayap. You guys would read that, right?
Yeah, I would.
Don't answer that.
Yayap's Big Adventure, and it's just really loosely Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but it's Yayap. He's just he's getting his instead of a bicycle, it's like one of those speeder things from
followed by Yayap's Excellent Adventure, and the final chapter of the trilogy, Yayap's Bogus Journey.
Yes, exactly.
That's where we're going.
That's where we're going. So Yayap Lives. I agree.
Yayap lives!
From Harry of Video Games Are Bad, one of our first fans and one of our biggest fans. The first person that we actually made a sticker for on the Discord and pointed out kind of a meme of ours. Our first meme was kind of like, was murdered the shit out of them.
That's right. That's right.
Anytime somebody died, there used to be... When the first 10 or so times I did it were not intentional. I was not thinking about it. I would say murdered the shit out of them. And then Harry, points out the fact that every time a character dies, I would say...
Say just murdered him. Not it's like anything murdered him. Murdered the shit out of him.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's lovely. It's a sticker on the Discord. From Griffin77, his favorite moment is the weird source material changes, like human Mega Man.
I still think about that. Like the pointlessness of it. There was no reason. There was nothing, like, it didn't pay off. It wasn't necessary.
No, it wasn't.
It was such a random detail they added in for no apparent reason.
It's like, what if we have two Mega Men? Dr. Light said, and then instead of two Mega Men, he's like, whoops, I accidentally made you human.
Right. Yeah. Sure. That's a thing. Yeah.
Why couldn't you just build a second Mega Man, Dr. Light? Is there a premium on robot parts?
I mean, that seems to be your entire business. I feel like you must have a few of them lying around.
But that episode, and you know what? I still haven't seen Scott use it, but he was really enamored with that section of the book where Mega Man. The sentence was, Mega Man looks up and he sees a giant W above him.
That's right. That's right. W for Mega Man.
Scott. We need to get Scott back on the show.
We should. He was one of our earliest guests. We gotta get him back on.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of things to finish this year. We could get him on.
Yeah. From Habermania on the Discord. The clap of my ass cheeks is alerting the guards.
Yeah, that's also in my top five.
Which is not it's not something I made up. It's a relatively old Twitter thing at this point where somebody, I believe somebody drew a cartoon of Solid Snake saying that, and then David Hayter actually like recorded it, and then I do my David Hayter impression of that recording. Right. But God, that really made Jesse laugh.
Oh God, yeah. I loved having Jesse on. We just listened to the Super Mario Brothers. Every time we have him on the show, we just end up cackling like the biggest idiots. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's something about having him on the show pushes my personal line out further for what I'm actually
It's true. It's true. He kind of gives you permission to let your id fly a little bit.
Go ahead, say it.
Go ahead, do it. You know you want to, man. Just say it.
And then from VZ, is a man not entitled to the sweat of his own thighs?
No, says the man in Washington.
He said it's the entire moment in the BioShock book where we're talking about like being on the toilet or something like that.
Yeah.
But he said that line in particular is he was in the office at work and had to stop and like pause the episode and laugh to himself.
Oh, that's gratifying. That's very gratifying.
I love it. And we love y'all. It was amazing to walk through those some of those memories. And if you want to throw any more at us over the next couple weeks or so as we celebrate the 100th episode, feel free to comment comment on our Twitter tweets. And I've been off Twitter for like a couple months now, and I forgot that they were called tweets. Nature's
you're
healing.
Not losing. You're not losing. You're not losing anything important, I don't think.
Nature is healing.
Yeah, we all are. My God.
I was going to say Twitter posts. What are they called?
Tweets.
So yeah, comment on our tweets. Come into the Discord if you want to, drop us a line and talk about your favorite moments of the first 100 episodes. And thank you so much for making this something that is fun and fulfilling and just a blast to do week in and week out. So thank you all. And, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, come by our Discord, go to our website, sign up for the newsletter, all that fun stuff.
And keep an eye on our Twitter in particular, because we will be making an announcement very shortly of a Patreon.
Yes.
We are not. Yeah. We're going to be making some new exclusive content for our Patriots. Is that a thing? Patrons?
Patriots.
It's Patriots. It's right there. And we're going to some fun exclusive content stuff that doesn't fit so neatly into the pixelate oeuvre that we've talked about for years wanting to do.
Oeuvre.
You have to say oeuvre.
You gotta really flow that bottom lip out. Yeah, so that's also the other announcement for this episode. Yeah, we're starting a Patreon, and we're gonna be launching it pretty soon after this episode airs.
Yeah, keep your eyes open.
Keep your eyes open on the Twitter for the official launch, and you know we'll be grateful whether you are able to donate anything or not, because just being there is enough for us. But we would also like to be able to buy
money.
Pizza.
Yeah, now and then.
Now and then.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be. I mean, honestly, we're going to probably keep it to smaller tiers and stuff. We're not trying to get a ton of money out of people, but we do want to have some higher level stuff, like where people can pay to have us review a video game fan fiction, for example.
Oh yes,
shit like that.
That's been on the list forever.
For a very long time, actually.
Is the reading a fan fiction?
Absolutely.
Which we're opening a can of worms for y'all.
Yeah, and including, and we're going to look. Kevin's not messing around. I'm looking at our spreadsheet that we've had since the very beginning, and we had some ideas. One-time rewards for we'll read your fanfic, we'll read your review. Like if you have if you've got a if we want to talk about like things that people have said about our show.
Yeah.
And like sort of video game books where like maybe more of the non-fiction video game books out there that we both love so much.
Your Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, your things
Absolutely.
like that. It's more of a general review of those. So yeah, look towards the horizon, because coming up over that horizon, it's Patreon, baby.
Damn right.
And that'll do it. Good night.
Good night.